Before we begin today's regularly scheduled program, I have the opportunity, the pleasure, the honor of talking with my buddy Brentley about his new show. Welcome to the show, Brentley. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking the time.
Hell yeah. No, thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Fantastic, man. So Progressive Pals podcast. What's it about and why did you start it?
Well, we just, we wanted something that was a bit like, we've been part of the atheist community for a while, and we kind of wanted something like side to that, like something like sort of in between atheism and politics. So we figured if we just do, the Progressive Pals podcast, it doesn't really like say anything overtly about atheism, even though we're all atheists. But it's just, hopefully we can kind of drag in some more of the people from those audiences, that won't turn them off from immediately religious, even though we're just immediately going to watch clips about, Greg Locke and all these other crazy people that we make
Off
fun
the
of.
Deep end. Yeah, love it. Great stuff. So where did you come up with the idea? What were you doing before? What was that show you were doing before? You're still doing that show?
So, Nikki and I, my partner and I, we do a show, and we still do it. It's just, it comes on every so often. Like it doesn't come out as frequently as it used to. So we're just to fill in the gaps in between. We've been doing this other show, which is kind of like a panel where we just, kind of goof off on right-wing videos and stuff like that. And I was on Left at the Valley for a bit too, which I love,
That's the one. I love Left at the Valley. You guys are awesome over there. Love
it. No, I actually Kevin's he's still going on that crusade. We've moved away from it, but so we're kind of doing our own thing over here.
He's off on his own.
Much love to Kevin.
He's left the nest.
Yeah, I know, right? We just let him off, and he's doing great though. He's doing great.
Just fluttering around.
Yeah, exactly. He's flying on his own. Just
So favorite video. Do you have a favorite video or a favorite right winger you like to besides Greg Locke? Is there a particular one you like to pick on?
Man, I'm gonna be honest. I really like I want to, immediately I want to just say Kat Kerr, because Kat Kerr is just so fucking funny to listen to. She's the one, I don't know if you remember, she's the one who's been to heaven several times.
Oh wow. No, Kat Kerr. I'm gonna try and get that person on the show.
Oh yeah, yes. Definitely. Oh, you would love that. Oh man, that would be such a good talk right there.
I mean, she's been to heaven. That's crazy. Holy cow. And what does she say about it?
So she says the cows mow the lawn, but not by.
I love that it starts off with the cows.
Yes, but they drive tractors, with their little paws, and there's a Jello city. It's a city made out of Jello. Yeah. And
I think she's watched, was that Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? I think she's watched too much of that movie.
Seriously. There's a lot of food-based shit in there. I don't know why. I don't know why. But
that's fantastic.
Yeah. If I had to choose, it would, I think it would probably be Kat Kerr. She is phenomenally entertaining. And just, it's like, how you can see somebody like a toddler, like when a toddler's just making shit up, and it's just like they make that face and then it went to the house, and and they just go off, and that's exactly what she looks like every single time she's interviewed. It's amazing.
I can't wait. I need to talk to this person. I'm so excited now.
Yeah, I think she's with the Kuhneman. Damn, what's his name? Something Kuhneman. And it's his church, International. It's like Christian International Church.
I feel like I've lived in a cave all this time. Christian Internet. I don't even know what this stuff is. Love it.
It's just and honestly, they're like these far right Trump preachers. Really, it's more about Trump than it is anything religious.
Trump is their Jesus, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's definitely a major part of it. You know what I mean? I would say he's at least equal to Jesus, if not
It's like, have they heard this guy talk? Are they sure that guy?
That's the one.
Hard.
That's who you're going with.
That's who you're picking. All right.
I guess he commands it's funny too, they always say like, oh man, I can't imagine, how people would like look to like, how did everybody follow Hitler, and you hear him and he's just like, and you're like, but they say it's the greatest speaker, and now I'm like, I'm not so sure after Trump, because everybody's
he has the best words. But they're words of a child. That's my best Trump.
Yeah, he doesn't, it's the best way, greatest way. And we all
just gotta be so annoyed with everybody when you talk.
yeah, you pretty much have to just imagine everybody's garbage. You're just talking to Oscar the Grouch, and that's how you talk to him.
Bunch of garbage can people. well, some of them. Whew,
right?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, not too far off with that, actually.
Yeah, that's a whole nother idea there. So your atheism, where did you come? How what's your journey? Tell us your journey.
So I was homeschooled. I was like raised like super fundamentalist.
Oh, that's right. We had the same mom.
Yeah, basically. I was like, yeah. I mean, it's honestly, she's the sweetest lady. I love my mom.
She's great.
But wow, she confused about some things.
Yeah.
Not all things, but just a lot of them.
Most.
But yeah, most. But so I was raised up in that, and so like and I believed it like wholeheartedly. I was going to be a youth pastor. I was doing all this. I was working towards it. And like after so long in the church, I kind of realized that it only basically took one person, or not even like one person, just basically one person like starting a rumor, and that destabilized all of that. I lost all of my all my duties, all the things that I was in charge of. I would do Bible studies, and it was just like in the blink of an eye, it was all just like, everybody looks at you differently after that. And it was just, and I kind of realized from there, like, wow, if this is this unstable, I don't know how I can, continue with this. And so I tried other churches and stuff. I remained a Christian for a long time. But I ended up going out and trying drugs because I was upset. And
Drugs aren't all bad, kids.
No, not all of them. But the ones I got into are though.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I was still a Christian, and it's amazing that I wasn't able to actually get clean off of all this stuff until becoming an atheist.
Wow. Yeah.
I kept going through these it's like going through these religious what do you call it, like rehab type things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they keep on just making you, they just make you feel shit about yourself, until you can't, and they're like, just do more Jesus. If you just do more Jesus, you'll do less drugs. And like nothing works that way. Like
no,
it didn't.
No.
Yeah.
They're really good at making you feel like shit, though. That man, religion's got that down. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's true.
Break you down. Holy cow. Well, I'm glad you made it out, man.
Oh, thanks.
That's tough. That is tough. So the Bible itself, I love asking this question to all my guests, but what is the Bible to you?
Oh shit, man. For a long time, it was everything to me. And then now it's kind of just a fun thing that I've read it like 4 times. So, but now it's weird, the fourth I'm going through my 5th time now reading it. And now it's just like, wow, I can't believe I really thought this stuff was actually true or meaningful at all.
It's just going through it. It's like, wait a minute. I thought that was real. Holy cow. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Well, I think it was coming outside that bubble, man, because we lived in that bubble, that Christian bubble. When you just step outside of it a little bit, it's like a breath of fresh air, and you can turn around and see, well, that looks weird. Why was I doing that? Why did I believe that?
Yeah, it really was weird. Like, I remember talking about like laying hand and actually thinking that demons were coming out of people because the noises they were making and stuff, and and being like, oh man, that's a demon coming out right there. Like, what the fuck, I now looking back, I'm like, I'm wondering if the person was having a seizure, like,
what was really going on with them? Seriously,
right?
Yeah, I remember my pastor talking to a demon. I'm thinking, what's wrong with that person? Like, what are they going through in life right now? I think they need more than just a pastor talking to their whatever this is.
Right. And were they pretending? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm so you know what I mean? Like, what if like it's either like a major mental health problem, or they actually are pretending to help out the pastor by being like, yes, I am the demon for Cyrus or whatever.
Or is it like hypnosis? Does it work like hypnosis with the sounds of the music and the pastor chanting his things and the pressure and the smell of the anointing oil and all that, you know, sensory thing. Yeah, so many
it could
things.
be.
Yeah.
Right. Because I remember seeing people falling over and shit. Like, that wasn't like the main thing at our church, but like our church was like the kind where it was like, hey, the gifts of the spirit are good things, right? But like, you know, you can't do it in public. So we're not like those people that speak in tongues in public, but we do our little private sessions, and then it's just all out, you know.
Stay
like
in that upper room. That's what just do it in the upper room.
The upper room, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, we went to the same church, same mom. Yeah, totally.
I know,
Holy rollers, man. It was so funny to watch. So the first time I do write about it in the book, the first time I remember seeing it, it totally scared me. Like, these are normal people crying and falling and convulsing. This is a little scary. I'm a kid, you know?
Right.
I'm not used to seeing this happen to adults. It's so weird. So weird. And the music and the people screaming, Jesus, save me. It's like, wow.
Right. And did you remember the laughter? Did you hear like the people laughing
when
for no
just
reason?
Bust out randomly laughing. Ha ha.
Yeah,
I'm laughing in the spirit. No, you're creepy. Stop it.
Yeah, no, you just sound like fucking the clown, you know, Pennywise. Jesus, get the hell out of here. Like, dude.
There's impressionable scared children.
Right, you're scaring the kids. You know, like,
oh man, did your church ever do like the speaking in tongues and then like somebody would interpret it?
Yes, like that was the only way you were allowed to, because so they would just sit there and death stare the audience until somebody, because they're like, hey, at this church we don't speak in tongues unless there's a translation, and so the pastor would just sit there and be like, where's translation? Huh? And just be guessing.
You,
somebody better fucking have a translation.
Shoe. I'm gonna throw the word at you.
And somebody would eventually be like, I think maybe it's me.
Jesus says we're all fucked.
Says he loves us.
But Bob's going to hell because he doesn't wear the right shoes on Sunday. And he doesn't bathe his kid.
Yeah, he wouldn't let me ride in his boat with him on Sunday. And so...
Seriously though, man, kindergarten, way off his riptide. We're going riptide. Kindergarten, man, we used to sit in a circle. I went to Christian school, obviously, and pray. And the teacher would say, like, do you have a word from God? Is anybody speaking anything? Is God speaking to you? One of the kids, guaranteed every time, would stand up and say, yes, God is telling me to sit next to Garrett. Every time.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to think, this is bullshit. There's no way God told him to sit next to Garrett every time. It doesn't make any sense to me. So that started my whole, trip down that questioning thing. Yeah.
Right. And it's almost like the kids are smart. Like they're starting to see like, oh, I can just say whatever I want.
Yeah.
You know, like this doesn't really matter. If
I can manipulate the manipulation. I got this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Because I remember thinking that too. It was like, I remember kind of, because I really believed it, as a kid. And then you could see like these kids just making shit up, and you're kind of just like, come on, that's not the rest of us are actually hearing from the Lord, bro.
What they're doing is copying the adults.
Yeah.
And they're just making shit up, and that's just, they're mimicking each other. It's so crazy to see.
Oh, yeah, that's unbelievable.
Circle of life, funny. Man.
It really is. It really is.
Don't make me start singing.
I know. Right, that was the other thing too. Is like when I was growing up, was like there was a Christian punk rock scene, which seems like a contradiction in terms, but
MXPX.
It's actually not. Yes, see,
Super
like
tones.
MXPX, Supertones, all these yeah. So there was a lot of which was kind of interesting, because like that was also helpful for me as well getting out, because like a lot of the punk, like it's not Christian. Like the whole idea of punk is not Christian.
Yeah,
it's raging against the Christian machine. And so like I got into Bad Religion and and No Effects and all these other ones, and I'm like, oh man, like it makes so much more sense, like what they were talking about, and I was listening to that growing
reality.
up.
Reality. Yeah. Versus I love my invisible friend. He's the greatest invisible friend ever. No, come on. I don't want to sing about that. Sing about real things.
I think there's something weirdly like comforting about not having to think. Like, does that make any sense?
It does. It does. Yeah.
like, if you have something that you can just refer to for all of your conclusions that you come to about right and wrong and like, politics and literally anything, like you don't have to think at all. There's something weirdly comforting about that. And I think that's really where religion comes into play the most,
That's definitely a zone for sure. Holy cow. Because I mean, it's kind of like my drive home. I don't really think about driving. I'm off doing other things. Before I know it, hey, that was my exit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh shit. Yeah, exactly. But you can like make it all the way home sometimes and be like, I don't remember doing that.
Right? How did
you know what I
here?
mean?
Yeah, I remember pulling in the driveway.
The whole drive. Yeah, like I have no idea if I caught lights or didn't or what. Like and that's again, that's comforting. I don't know. There's something about that, and it's just the repetition does that.
Yeah. Mind on autopilot. It just goes. Yeah, don't have to worry about anything. I know how to do this. This is easy. God knows everything. God loves me. Blah blah blah. Wait, did he just quote a Bible verse that makes it sound opposite?
Right? Oh, that I remember getting, and it would be like a visceral anger too when people would like point out things that my logical inconsistencies with my beliefs and stuff. Like all of a sudden you just start, what the fuck you, man, like look buddy bucko, like
but Jesus loves you.
Yeah. The Lord speaks to each one individually through those words, so Jesus they don't make sense.
Jesus may love you, but I think you're an asshole.
Yeah. That was my answer to that. Was like, well, Jesus uses these words to like speak to each one of us individually for like where we are in our lives, right?
Wow.
So like, but it's not actually supposed to make sense. That was my whole argument, was that the Bible wasn't supposed to make sense because it was supposed to be like, let me flip this book open and just point somewhere and be like, oh man, I'm going through a breakup. Oh, look, this is like, I could sort of relate this to that if I think about it hard enough. And that's like all the Bible was for.
Magical source of morality. Instant boost of feel goodness. Oh, look, Jesus does love me. I flipped to this verse. It says he loves me. They never flip to the verse that says something about donkey emissions. So weird.
Right. Like maybe I need to go back to I guess, because he's talking about donkey.
I should have bought that donkey at the yard sale. That's what it was.
The talking donkey weird. Too.
Yeah. Like what happens when you open those verses,
I mean, a lot of times I would figure out some way. I would think it around. Like I would think around it and be like, okay, how does a donkey Democrats?
There it is. There it is. See,
they're all sexually deviant. Yeah. So like, I can make some weird thing out of it.
Satanist child molesters. That's it. Nailed it from that verse. Nice job, Brandley. Man, you're a hermeneutic, sir.
Right. But yeah, it doesn't take much once once you've basically just broken down the barriers of reality to be whatever you'd like them to be. You can fuck with shit, It's
live in that fantasy world of faith and make believe. So crazy.
Yeah.
So much fun though to talk to them. I love it. And you'll hear the conversation following this conversation of where we have fun talking to one of them.
Yeah. Who do you got coming on today? What are we doing?
Let's see. Let me pull up my little I found my mouse here. Let me pull up my little thing. Who's coming on? His name is Isaiah Cruz. Isaiah Cruz will be following this conversation. It's a shorter conversation. Isaiah Cruz it's a very interesting.
Is he Ted's brother? Or?
Yes. Okay. You're not anything he has a pill. I'm just gonna say it. He has a pill to make you stop watching pornography.
Oh,
it's a pill. It's a thing. A pill. And we're gonna talk about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but he has a better way. His better way is Bible and God. And it makes for an interesting conveation.
Wait, it's a legit, like it's a literal pill?
Legit pill, yeah.
Wow, weird. It's like tryptophan or something. And you're like, this will make you not want to masturbate.
It's interesting. Wow. These people I have on are very interesting. He's a nice guy. He's just a little confused, I think. But we'll get into that for sure. But Brentley is not confused. He knows what he's doing. He's got himself a podcast. He's on his way. He's making those ripples in the water. Thank you for making those ripples. Why don't you tell us where can we find your stuff at? And when does it air?
Okay, so every Wednesday night, during the summer, it's at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah. And then it's on during the rest of the year, not the summer. It's at like 11 at night, so it's pretty late. And it goes for about an hour long, and really we just hang out, we talk about whatever the latest news are, and we make fun of some videos. Usually we always even if we do have some kind of, like, we've had like lately dark topics, like with Roe v. Wade being overturned and things like that. So we try to liven it up a little bit at the end with some making fun of right-wing crazy people.
It's not hard to do sometimes. It's not hard.
Yeah, man. The
they make it so
source
easy.
material is just never ending. But so check it out. It's called the Progressive Pals Podcast on YouTube. Check out the Unapologetics podcast. That's the one that me and my partner do. It's spelled with an X, and that's on pretty much all the podcast players. And yeah, check it out. And you should also listen to Left at the Valley. They're great too.
Absolutely. Everything Brentley does is awesome. Check it out. Look him up. Do it. I command thee. Anyways, thank you so much for being on.
Spider-Man says,
yes. Yes. See, that's why Brentley's on here. We both worship Spider-Man.
That's it.
Great Spider-Man. All right, man. We'll keep in touch. Talk to you later.
All right, man. Take it easy.
And now back to our regularly scheduled program.
Is there anything in the Bible that you yourself have an issue with? Okay, so it took you reading the Bible to realize that those things were bad for you?
Yeah, it actually did. I didn't
figure this out on your own?
No, Ted Bundy could be redeemed. God doesn't kill children.
What do you think the Passover was? Yahweh sets up a whole system in the Old Testament where you slaughter animals just so he's able to forgive you.
Today's special guest is psychiatric nurse practitioner Isaiah Cruz. Welcome to the show, Isaiah.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for taking the time. Tell the folks at home a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. I specialize in addiction medicine. I've been doing that for about 6 years. Anything from heroin addiction, cocaine addiction, all kinds of stuff. So most recently, I've been doing alcohol addiction and pornography addiction. That's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is different treatments for pornography addiction, how it's affected America, and what we're doing to treat it.
Kinda. But yes, thank you for that. So what's that medicine called that you have out?
Yeah, so we treat pornography addiction with medication, 2 different ones. So first one is naltrexone. Naltrexone, Naltrexone. Used FDA approved to treat alcohol and opiate addiction. So how it works, it does 3 things. One, makes a person less impulsive overall. 2, it helps to reduce intrusive thoughts about pornography. And then 3, it limits the endorphin release from external stimuli. So when I say that, typically the next question is, well, does it limit the endorphin release from other things like having sex or hugs from loved ones or exercise? Short answer is no.
How does it know the difference?
It works on the exogenous receptors, so anything from outside of the body. So it can be used for weight loss as well, because that comfort food, that comfort feeling you get from eating your favorite foods, that's from the external side of the body, so that it limits. Some people, it takes all the endorphins away from that, so it's really effective. And then other people, maybe 50%.
So it takes away the impulses from outside the body. So wouldn't that be wouldn't that be sex?
No, because that's from the inside of the body. It's a different region. So the reason why we differentiate porn from sex is not necessarily the porn itself, but the things leading up to it. So when somebody gets on their computer knowing they're going to watch porn, the brain already starts releasing endorphins. It's kind of like the Pavlovian response. And then that snowball starts to create just an unstoppable craving.
Interesting. So you can pinpoint it to do different things, but not everything.
Correct. Yeah. And it's going to work a little differently for everybody. So one study says naltrexone actually increases a person's libido. I've been doing this about 6 years. I've had a handful of people who says it decreases it. And, some people just get the opposite reaction to a medication. There's no way around that.
So what are the studies behind this?
Yeah. So how I came up with this is kind of interesting. So I was treating alcohol addiction with naltrexone, and then I got a handful of guys come to me and said, I don't even use this for alcohol anymore. I use it for pornography. And it kind of blew me out of the water. I didn't realize what it could be used for. So then I thought, that's pretty gutsy to say that, because pornography addiction has so much shame involved in it. So I thought to myself, how many other people are using it for this and not knowing about it? So then I started doing the research. There's been several peer-reviewed medical journal articles written about this. Anything's published in the Mayo Clinic's journals. And so it's pretty reputable. And naltrexone is a reasonable option for treating compulsive sexual behavior, internet sex addiction.
Interesting.
And then the other medication we use is citalopram, which is an antidepressant, very common. Almost half the population is on an antidepressant. We use this to, one, lower anxiety related to stopping porn, but we also use it to lower the libido because it has sexual dysfunction as a side effect. So much like Viagra was invented originally as a blood pressure medication, but they found that it gives erections, so they remarketed it towards erections.
Side effect.
Right. So citalopram side effect is lowering libido. So I thought, well, we can use that to lower somebody's libido. And there's also been a lot of medical studies done on SSRIs, the category that citalopram is in, and compulsive sexual behavior.
Interesting. Well, that's all way above my head, pay grade for sure. Do your own research, 100%. Check that out. Study for yourself. But let's dive into why the porn is bad.
Yeah, that's a good question, because I've had people tell me there's nothing wrong with porn. I watch porn. There's no big deal. And I'm not here to tell somebody that porn is bad and you shouldn't watch it. And I'm not here to tell somebody that porn is good and you should watch it. You have to make your own decisions. I
appreciate that.
Most religious people, every religion that I know of, kind of frowns upon pornography. So that's
why. Sorry. Your particular religion is Christianity, correct?
That is correct.
And you feel that your particular religion frowns upon it?
Yes.
Do you? A big question here. You ready? Is there porn in the Bible?
Yeah, that's a good question. Debatably, I mean, a person could make an argument for pretty graphic wordings to things. Yeah.
Yes. So I would see certain things in the Bible as pornography. I'm sure that back then that they didn't have, YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
They didn't have any of that. So what they would use is words, written pornography. Yeah. And I find that in the Bible quite a few places. So is it okay when it's in the Bible?
Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that. They still use written pornography today. So it is a whole genre that people enjoy.
So does the pill that you have, does it take away the urge to read pornography?
Yes.
So would it take away the urge to read certain Bible verses with pornography in them, or are they just different?
Well, I don't think people pick up the Bible to read. Let's go ahead and read.
No, but it's in there. Yeah, it's in there. I mean, Song of Songs,
right?
The whole thing. I mean, you can't just blow on my garden type thing. Come into my garden, feast on my fruits.
Right.
My breasts are pillars. I mean, it's pretty pornographic. So, what about those instances? Would that be something you wouldn't want to read?
Depends on how you respond to it. For some people, it might be it jogs some memories of past experiences. In that case, then you're kind of getting into maybe it's a little sketchy then. But as far as the medication goes, in wanting or not reading the Bible, most people read the Bible as a spiritual discipline,
right?
Not as as not necessarily as I'm bored, let me read songs of songs.
Well, let's see your 13-year-old kid who's pent up and doesn't know anything. All you gotta have to read is the Bible. All of a sudden you read Song of Psalms, or there's a couple other verses, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, okay, I know what they're talking about here. Bow chicken, wow, wow. I mean, it's the Bible. So is it okay when there is porn in the Bible? Is it okay when there's porn in the Bible? And why is that okay?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have a good answer for that. No.
Gotcha. Well, what do you think of the porn in the Bible? I mean, would you allow kids to read certain verses?
I think the way that it's worded in most Bibles that I've read is it kind of goes above most kids' head. I had to have a lot of it explained to me.
There's definitely certain parts. I'm just going to go to one here. One is just kind of overwhelming here. It is the Ezekiel 23. I'm sure that lots of people are familiar with this one. It goes through, let's go 16 through 21. As soon as she saw them, she lusted after them and sent messengers to them in Chaldea. Then the Babylonians came to her to the bed of love, and in their lust they defiled her. After she had been defiled by them, she turned away from them in disgust. When she carried on her prostitution openly and exposed her naked body, I turned away from her in disgust, just as I had turned away from her sister. Wow, we're getting her sister involved now. Holy cow, it's getting deep. Watch out. Sweating. Woo. Yet she became more and more promiscuous as she recalled the days of her youth. Oh, watch out. When she was a prostitute in Egypt, there she lusted after her lovers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys, and whose emissions were like that of horses. So you longed after the lewdness of your youth. Tra-la-la-la-la. That's pornographic. Like that is like emissions like horses.
Right.
That's
pretty.
As a child, you probably shouldn't be reading those things.
Yeah. It depends on how old you are. I don't know if I would pick up on a lot of that as a child.
I would ask.
But yeah, it is pretty. It is pretty graphic.
Pretty graphic. Song of Psalms when it talks about breasts. I mean, that's pretty blatant. It's not sugarcoating anything there. Well, neither is the emissions of horses, but that's a whole other story. So do you have kids?
I do. Yeah.
Would you allow them to read the Bible openly and freely?
That's a good question. I think so.
What happens when your child comes along this verse and asks, "What's an emission, Dad?"
Yeah, doing what I do with pornography addiction, my children get an education on sex pretty early.
So they know. So they know this is pornographic already to them.
Yeah.
So you allowed your kids to read pornographic material?
No.
Ah,
I don't know what you're trying to get at here.
I'm just curious. Would you allow your kids to read this knowing that they know what this means?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you allow your kids to read pornographic material as long as it's Bible oriented.
There's a lesson to be had behind it. It's not a pornographic to masturbate to.
And how do you know they're not? Weird question. Don't know where that came from. But I'm just saying, this is pornographic material. There's a bunch of stuff in here. We've got the Lot story, which has got pornographic material. That's incest. I mean, that's pretty gross.
Right.
But it's still in there. Lot had sex with his daughters. It's in there. Like the whole thing. She got him drunk. She had her way with him. Next night, it's her other sister. They got him drunk, had her way with him. I mean, this is pornographic. Personally, I wouldn't let my kids read this. Yeah. I mean, they know. They're not old enough to understand.
Now, so I wouldn't have them read your children about pornography and sex?
No, my kid just turned 9. So we are not in that stage yet. And I wouldn't
22% of all the porn consumed by minors, 22% are children under 10.
Wow. Well, I monitor what they watch and read and see. So I'm pretty sure he hasn't. But if it has, then we'll talk about it at that point in time. We'll tackle that topic. Yeah. But I wouldn't openly give them a book with pornography in it. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So anyways.
All right.
Isaiah. Oh man. All right. So Isaac, you're a Christian. Why are you a Christian? What happened? What changed your mind into being a Christian? Were you grown up that way? What happened?
Yeah, good. Raised in the church and
Raised in the church.
yeah, so raised as a Christian, and my church I grew up in was never said this way, but this is the message I got from them. If you don't drink, if you don't smoke, if you don't cuss, you're a Christian. And it wasn't until I was 21 until I really kind of made the faith my own, and really got into like apologetics and the historicity of the New Testament. I still have a lot of questions about the Old Testament. I'm not here to say I'm a theologian.
Yeah. Well, even they don't have answers. I could tell you right now.
Right. So I got it. I boiled it down to I don't believe necessarily the Big Bang. It's too unlikely. And so the world, in my opinion, has to be created by a higher being. So then look at some of the religions, and the Bible seems to have, at least the New Testament has history on its side, as far as the New Testament was written within the time frame of Jesus. So a lot of the Bible,
it was like 30 years afterwards, though.
Right. The people who walked beside Jesus were still alive when it was written, as opposed to
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John
lifetime
are not first-hand accounts.
I may have said that wrong. It was written. I guess you may have picked up what I said. It was still written when somebody who walked with Jesus was still alive.
Gotcha. Well, none of those first four actually are first-hand accounts.
Right.
None of them. So we don't really have any first-hand accounts. We just have afterwards. And afterwards, we get exaggeration, and then inconsistencies and contradictions and all that stuff. Even with the life of Jesus, the death of Jesus, the resurrection of Jesus, even the birth of Jesus contradicts itself. So we don't really have a congruent, actual fitting story. So, and that's another issue that I have too, is it was written so long afterwards, and we can't tie anything together. We don't know which king was it. We don't even know. There's two different birth stories. Was it the 4 wise men, 6 wise men? We don't know, because that's not in there. We know they brought 3 gifts. So, I mean, that could have been like 20 wise men bringing the same gift. I don't know, So there's lots of contradictions in there, lots of irregularities. So why do you believe it with all of that, knowing all of that?
Well, it's called faith for a reason.
Faith. Gotcha. Is there anything else you have faith in that's like this? Science deals in facts, though. We test it. We can test it.
Yes.
We can't test Jesus.
No. Yes and no. So can you test carbon dating?
That's how it works, right? We tested it. We've verified it throughout the years.
But to actually verify it, you need to go back into time to watch when that rock was created. Because without that, you can't say with 100% certainty that rock was created at that exact time.
Carbon dating. We know when carbon decays, right?
Yes.
So that's what we use.
Right.
We know.
So, here's a good example. So
go ahead.
I get a 2 bricks. I get a 2x4. I step on the 2x4. It goes down 1/4 inch. I'm 200 pounds. So by the math, times that by 10, I put
you said math.
Pounds.
I'm done. Sorry. I'm out.
I do that 2,000 pounds, and it should dip 10 times, right? Well, no, the wood would break. So by that first theory, it's not congruent. Just because it's factual for one doesn't mean it's factual for both.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things in play there that we aren't adding. Anyways, but the science versus faith.
Right.
What do you find more reliable, science or faith?
That's a good question. I guess it would have to be on an individual basis.
Gotcha. Okay, so scientific vax, people don't come back from the dead. Faith, Jesus came back from the dead. What do you believe in that instance?
I don't know. I brought people back from the dead.
I brought animals back from the dead, but they weren't gone for 3 days.
Right. I worked in the ER as an ER nurse, and
that's always
chest
fun,
compressions
isn't it?
on people.
I've done the same with animals. I hospitals and emergency centers and ICUs and all that. Yeah. Oh yeah. I've carried dogs and just CPR as you go, you know. Yeah, no, 100%, but not after 3 days. So science tells us you've been dead for 3 days, you don't come back. You've been dead for 3 minutes, maybe.
Right.
You know, it depends on who's there and what drugs they have and how many chest compressions they can do.
Sure.
So, science versus faith in that one. Where are you at?
As far as bringing people back from the dead, I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to lean more towards the science part of it. The faith part of it, the belief in things that are unseen.
Right.
Yeah, I doubt it. 100%. I doubt it. And I haven't seen the evidence for it. Science, I do see the evidence for it. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this God of yours, can you describe it?
Did I hear you correct? This God of mine? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Can you describe your God?
Okay. Yeah. Yes and no. Yeah. It's an ambiguous thing because obviously you can't see God.
Can't see him. He's invisible, right?
Right. But it's a faith. It's a feeling, and along with scripture. And,
feeling in scripture.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you use this feeling? The same thing you use for your invisible God? Is there any other way you use this feeling for? Any other situations?
Love. My wife,
Love.
my kids.
That's different though. You can see your wife and your kids. They're not invisible.
Yeah.
God is invisible. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So is there any other invisible person that you use faith for?
Is there any other invisible person out there?
There isn't. As far as I'm concerned, I've yet to see any evidence of invisible people. I mean, besides, you know, The Invisible Man with Kevin Bacon. But, you know, that's beside the point. That's a movie.
Yeah.
So no. Okay. No on that one. Gotcha. So it's a feeling. So describe this feeling.
Yeah, that's a good question.
What's it like when you encounter God?
I guess it's a feeling of wholeness, feeling of rightness.
Gotcha. I feel that sometimes when I watch a movie. The end of it, you just feel whole. You feel right. You know, I've completed this. This is a whole saga. Man, I'm a new person. I finished the Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
That's the
no, seriously, that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one. That's a big feeling when you forget when you finally do it. I was at Pillars of the Earth. I think it was a book I read that was huge. It was massive. When I got the end of it, it was such an accomplishment. Like I knew things nobody knew, you know. I was in this world. So it was a whole thing. But like it was fiction. I mean, I knew it was fiction. Even from that feeling. Well, how do you know it's real with the feeling?
I don't.
Gotcha.
I don't know it's real. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate
but
that.
I'd rather err on the side of caution. Say, you know, we died, I'm wrong. And there is no God, or the God was somewhere else. And
what if it's a different God?
Right. Yeah. Could be.
Yeah. So if you're wrong, you might as well be worshiping all the gods. Let's start worshiping Kali Ma. She's pretty badass. Right. Let's start worshiping her.
So
I mean, just in case, right?
Say we all die and I'm wrong, which I'm not above saying that I know everything and I'm right and my faith is better than yours.
Same. Yeah.
So I lived a good life. You know, I gave money to the church, and a lot of that money is used to. I kind of choose where I give my money.
Okay, good. But it's not the Catholic Church, is it?
Yes. No.
Okay.
I like to combine. I like to combine. I can't think of the word. Humanitarian with the gospel. As far as I want to give my money to where they're giving, you know, clean water to people and stuff like that. So, you know, say that's always we die and I'm wrong. At least I've lived a content life. And
same.
Right. and my faith was wrong, and I helped some people along the way.
Same.
And,
Yeah, absolutely. And the difference is I don't have that invisible man, but I can still be a good person. I can still help out my fellow man. I can still help out my fellow animal, my fellow earthling. We're all in this together. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think, do you believe in hell?
I think, yeah. Now what hell looks like.
There it is.
Right.
Gotcha.
And like, is it like the eternal torment, like the worst possible thing you can ever think of? Or is it like just separation from God?
And what would that separation from God be like?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it would be depressing.
Well, right now, I'm separated from God.
Yeah.
Completely separate him. Dude doesn't live in my heart. He doesn't dwell in my house. I pushed him as far away as possible. I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy, dude.
Good. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not depressing not to be without God. So if I'm going to be without God for eternity, it's going to be like this? Or is it going to be agonizing? He's going to make it agonizing? Or
Yeah, I don't know.
And why would a loving God do that? That's so weird. So if he loves me, and he wanted to show himself to me, that'd be great. Just show yourself and show me you love me. But I mean, he hasn't. So don't punish me for not showing yourself to me. That's not my fault. That's your fault. Stop being invisible. Send me the feelings that Isaiah's getting. I want those feelings. No,
right?
Oh, I don't get them. I don't get them, Isaiah. So don't punish me for it. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah. So wouldn't it be more loving to sit me somewhere in paradise just without him? Wouldn't that be more of a loving thing? Wouldn't you do that with your kids? What if your kids hated you? Yeah. Would you still set up a paradise for them just away from you?
I mean,
if that would make them happy?
People have been asking questions like this for thousands of years, and you're going to get different answers. And
true.
Yeah.
I want to know what Isaiah thinks, though. That's why I want to know what Isaiah thinks.
Okay.
What do you think?
What was the question again?
Well, if
my kids prepared,
if your kids hated you, like they wanted nothing to do with you, your love for them would still be there. I'm guessing as a father, because I'm a father and we're all fathers here. So your love would still be there, but they wanted to be away from you. Fine. I will set you up a paradise away from me so you can live happily ever after. Instead of, I'm going to separate myself from you and make it painful, or I'm going to make it depressing because you're away from me. You don't want to be with me.
Right.
What sounds more loving to you?
Yeah, it depends. So this argument of why would a loving God torment me? I've heard it best explained like this. I kind of sets, I guess, what I believe. Your toddler asks you for a sucker, for junk food all day, every day.
Okay.
Because it makes them happy. Would you give that to them all day, every day?
No, I would give them something that's healthy that they like as well. I'd find something that they like to eat.
Well,
that's just too damn bad.
Right, exactly. But
you can't have your sucker.
You're doing what's loving for them because you love them. But they don't see it that way.
Okay, so is me living in paradise forever away from God bad for me?
So I don't know, but
well, it wouldn't be bad for me like a sucker would be bad for the kids to eat 24/7.
Right. But
it's a weird analogy, Isaiah.
It is. It makes sense in my head.
That's okay. That's okay.
So, say there is a higher being. I'd imagine that he'd be smarter than me and you, right?
Right.
If he knew how to create a world.
Right.
Right. So saying that like you saying that any person saying that God is wrong because he's sending people to hell.
Yes.
He's wrong. He's not a loving God, right?
Yes. I'm using the brain that he gave me, right?
Right.
This is the brain he gave me. I'm using the empathy that he gave me. And I'm telling you, and the logic, I'm telling you, that's not logical or empathetic or reasonable at all. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Even to me.
That's a main argument. Right. That's a main argument that people have, which I know that is a pretty decent argument, right? So if there is a God who's smarter than us, me telling God that he is doing something wrong is like me spilling milk, bacteria growing on that milk, and that bacteria telling me that I messed up.
Wow, I'm bacteria to God? I thought I was a loving
No,
child that he
hold on.
loved. Now I'm a bacteria.
Did I say that?
You said I'm a bacteria. Anyways,
Oh, I
so
did, didn't I? No, I didn't.
in so many words, go ahead, finish your story. Okay.
So if there's a higher being that can create the universe, our intelligence difference is equal to a bacteria and an intelligent person.
But I'm using my
would that
logic
be
that doesn't add up with his logic.
Would that be a reasonable statement to make?
No, because we're kids. We're his kids, right? Are we his kids, or are we like, well, I mean, Daniel 4:35, we are regarded as nothing. You know, he does as he wishes with the peoples of earth and the heavens and whatnot. So, I mean, in that instance, yeah, we're like a bacteria to God, just an insignificant nothing. But there's other verses that say we're kids, we're his children, we're he cares. My meeting will end in 10 minutes. I don't even know what just happened there. Little pop-up thing. Anyways, so I got 10 minutes left of this conversation, apparently, according to Zoom. So let's dive into this. Are we bacteria to God, or are we children? What do you think?
Know.
Do you think he cares about us, or do you think we're like a bacteria, a fungus?
Could be both.
Interesting. I think we're like a virus of the earth, maybe, but I don't know about God. He says he loves us. It's very interesting. All right. So we're running out of time here fast. That was a little too fast. But Isaiah, I appreciated the time so far and the answers so far. Is there anything you want to close out with before our time runs out
here? Usually I like to just share a couple of statistics about pornography and minors, because that's kind of what I'm passionate about. I have 4 daughters. I want to make sure to protect them against pornography.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So about 94% of children will be exposed to pornography by 14. And that's a pretty high number. So
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but where do you think that comes from, though? Like, what television, movies?
I think some of it's going to be incidental. You're just searching a word that has double meaning, or a friend's house, your friend's older brother, that kind of stuff. So, there's internet blockers, but I would encourage parents to have
Watchdog. I think it's called. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, there's several different ones. Yeah. So have conversations with your kids as young as 6, 7, 8. Just use normal anatomy. This is a penis and a vagina, and if the parents can't say that without giggling, then how do you expect the kids?
I'm already giggling.
Right. So
we use different words. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Right. And I know some people, they say there's nothing wrong with pornography, right? Well, yeah, I'm not here to say it is or not, like I said, but 9 out of 10 pornographic videos has violence against women or aggression towards women.
9 out of 10
alone isn't.
I want to know the guy who did that research.
Yeah, there's a study about it, but and that alone is enough to protect the kids, because a lot of teenagers will get their sexual education from pornography, which isn't necessarily real. They're called actresses for a reason.
They are called actors for a reason.
Yes. Yeah. So we mentioned the porn blocker, like adult filter, and I typically recommend that to a kid and for younger teenagers.
Yeah.
Once you get older, I recommend more of an accountability software, meaning they're open to search whatever they want, but if it's some adult material that you may not approve of, it sends you an email and says, okay, we're at this. So that way it gives the child a little more freedom. It's not like you're keeping them in a bubble until they're 18 and then they go off the deep end.
Yeah, also very helpful. Yeah, there's a ton of programs. Whoever's listening still, ton of programs out there. Watchdog's a great one. I haven't implemented any of them yet because I do keep a very close watch on where they are and what they do as far as their computers and entertainment stuff. But thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time and your answers. I will keep in contact with you. I'll let you know when this comes out. You stay safe out there. Keep in touch. And that's all the show there is for you today. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard and want to help keep the recording light on, simply go to patreon.com/BSW the podcast and sign up to be a supporter of the show. Your episodic tithes of $1 or more will give you access to the patron feed, unaired conversations, early access to each episode, and much more. For the latest events, BSW swag, and a peek behind the scenes, head on over to the show's ever-evolving webpage at thebiblesayswhat.com. The Bible Says What the book is out. Head on over to thebiblesayswhat.com and get yourself and your grandma a signed copy. Thanks to the cosmic powers of the internet, it is now possible to buy me a beer or coffee online. Simply go to buymeacoffee.com/BSW the podcast and click the appropriate buttons. If you can't support the show monetarily, please like, share, and or leave a review. As always, you can find me at the Bible Says What Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram pages. You can also reach me at bswthepodcast@gmail.com. And no matter which platform you use to listen to your podcasts, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on the next episode. Until then, would you kindly pick up your Bibles and read them? Coming to a YouTube channel near you, Jesus VRs. Subscribe or burn.